My name is Matthias Westendorf. I'm a technical marketing engineer in the data center switching business unit. I'm going to talk today about the Nexus Dashboard, what it is, how it works, and then also looking into a demo to show you what it really is. So for the introduction, I'm going to talk a bit about, hey, what is the reason we are doing these Nexus Dashboard? Then looking in the Nexus Dashboard, going to the demo and doing a conclusion. So Nexus Dashboard, why are we doing that? We're doing that because we see several operational challenges in the data centers, right? There are a lot of siloed operation. There is no single pane of glass. We don't have that one place to go to look at all the information we are gathering, right? We lack the end-to-end visibility. We see that a lot of people deploy different tools that are completely siloed to do their day two operations. Right, and if you really want to use these tools for planning, prediction, change management, and potentially want to automate, that's pretty hard if there are different tools, different places to go, right? So that's all the pieces we are seeing today, that we have really a disjoint operational infrastructure. Now with that one, there are several angles that we need to address this, right? There's the first thing, how can we provide the single pane of glass and use all the capabilities we can provide there to really look into your infrastructure, to look into your operation, and then make that the one place to go. Right? This is the idea of the Nexus Dashboard. Let's take a look into the Nexus Dashboard, what it is going to be for a little bit as well, and what we can do today already with it. Right, so if we're looking Nexus Dashboard, the general idea is the Nexus Dashboard is that one common place to go, right, where you have all your networking infrastructure from the data center side of the house. Is it ACI based? Is it NX based? Is it cloud based? So cloud ACI in Azure, cloud ACI in Amazon, etc. And then onboarding all of these sites to the Nexus Dashboard as a central place, and then hosting applications, services on top of it, like Nexus Dashboard Insights, the orchestrator, the data broker, and as well ongoing third-party tools. And instead of going always to each of these applications to make them talk to ServiceNow, to Splunk, to Cisco Intersite, or to onboard all of these fabrics continuously to all of these applications and track changes there, we all do that via that central place, the Nexus Dashboard. Right, so the Nexus Dashboard not only being kind of a hosting platform for these services, but also being the central integration place for these services, right? So that we use that as a basis for all of these services in detail. Yes?
I know it's early, you're only 2 slides in, but I have a question. Because you mentioned Nexus Dashboard being the central location, that single pane of glass, and I've been using Nexus Dashboard since early field trial. It's a phenomenal product. I believe everyone needs the product. But when you mention this being the central location, we also hear that Intersite is going to be the central location, and we also hear that they're going to come together. So can you just comment on that?
Of course, yes. The Intersite and the Nexus Dashboard, we're going to integrate them, right? That you can use that information on the different places to see how to deploy them, to get that information in Intersite and vice versa reflected into the Nexus Dashboard. But this is something which is a little bit down the road. So it's not what is shipping in the current product, but that are the plans to integrate these, to use all of that information at the different places, to be able to gather that information, right? Like we do with the Insights piece and the AppD integration, right? We're looking into AppD information in the Insights and mapping that together to provide the full view for the AppD piece in the networking operation. And that's the same things we're looking into what we can do with the Nexus Dashboard and all the services that are there on Intersite that they are integrating tightly.
Yeah, we actually have AppD integrated into Nexus Dashboard right now. When do you see those two coming together? As far as Intersite?
I would say that it is, I guess, beginning of the calendar year. So I'm not a PM. I'm not fully aware of the timeline plans. Right, that's something we need to check with them. But with the next release, we're going to integrate multiple Nexus dashboards in a single UI. Once that is done, we take the next step further. So it's not going to be the next, potentially the release after.
Okay, thank you.
getting back to, after this great question, to the Nexus Dashboard itself. It is designed to really be an agile platform, right? We have there really an user-based UI, meaning you can have operator views that are just simply operating your infrastructure and don't care about the operation of the Nexus Dashboard itself. For the operators, it's going to be that one place to consume all the services, like looking into the Insights product, looking into the orchestrator, right? So getting all of these together on that single place so that you have also frictionless navigation, right? You see all your sites, you see quickly the status of the site, and you can cross-launch either the UI of the site directly, or you can cross-launch the application itself. And then, of course, for this product, it's completely built in that you have on the administrative view the possibilities to handle the full lifecycle, not of the platform itself only, but also on the applications on top of the platform, right? So that you really can handle the upgrades to that applications as well to the services. So that you have also the capabilities of a consistent user management, so that when you once sign in to Nexus Dashboard, and that user has also access rights to the ACI site or to the DCNM, that you can cross-launch the UI without re-authenticating. And that's the whole thing that is behind the Nexus Dashboard, not just being a hosting platform, also being that central place to go. Now let's take a little bit a deeper look under the hood of Nexus Dashboard. Nexus Dashboard itself is based on Atomic OS, operating system as we use in the APIC. And then on top of that, we have system services that are forming, for example, the Nexus Dashboard cluster, right? Having there the key vault for authentication to the different sites we are onboarding. Then we use Kubernetes for the microservices, so that the applications, the services on top of Nexus Dashboard are microservices. And then we have infra and shared services. These infra and shared services is something which we offer centralized on the Nexus Dashboard. And the Nexus Dashboard then is providing these to the services on top. What does it mean? If I onboard a site, for example, this site is onboarded to Nexus Dashboard, and that information is populated into the services on top, right? If the site is onboarded to Nexus Dashboard, there is no need to onboard that site again to Nexus Insights or to the orchestrator, right? With that one also, that means you do not need to take care of adding and removing switches from your monitoring system, because all of that is automated from the connection Nexus Dashboard to the site and the information that's provided to the services on top. And then on top, after these shared services, of course, we have the application services, the application that can be hosted there scale out wise, so we can scale out for the scaling horizontally. And then we have on top of it the Nexus Dashboard UI. Right, we can use the UI. We're going to add an API there as well, so that you can handle all of that also via API and gather information from the system, so that you really have that one single UI to consume these services and see the full health of your day 2 operation suite. Now, looking a bit under the hood, now what is Nexus Dashboard from the scale factor? Right, what does it look like? Nexus Dashboard itself today is available as a physical platform only. Right, it has to be at least a cluster of 3, which are forming the masters, and you can add up to 4 worker nodes. You can add a standby master as well for more redundancy, right? And then we are looking into getting this now out of the door as a virtual version for the orchestrator, and towards the mid of this calendar year as a virtual version for the Insights telemetry functionality. Right, today it's a purpose-built appliance from Cisco, which comes with the Nexus Dashboard UI or Nexus Dashboard operating system installed, and you need at least 3 of that to form a cluster. And based on scale, you can add via scale out more worker nodes. So if we're looking into that one, the real idea here is today it's physical only, but we're also opening it up for virtual ones, for example, to host the orchestrator. We are opening up to be able to run Nexus Dashboard in the cloud. And then also we are adding a virtual version for the Insights piece as well later this calendar year.
I have an additional question, actually 2. So what is the current scale for a single data center, 800 racks, for example? can a single cluster support that, or will it have to be multiple clusters?
The question here is that not Nexus Dashboard itself is dictating the scaling. The applications on top are dictating the scaling, right? For example, if we look at NI can scale today up to 500 nodes, right? So we can support 500 nodes with a single Nexus Dashboard cluster for the Nexus Dashboard Insights.
Okay.
This is something we are continuously scaling out, adding more nodes to this.
And is there any plan to do, like, say, a BGP VXLAN that doesn't have DCNM or ACI support?
So currently, it is purely focused on you have to have the controller piece of it, right? If you use ACI, of course, the controller is there. If you use DCNM, there are two ways to do that, because we use the DCNM as the inventory tool. The DCNM does not need to be the config engine. You can onboard your EVPN fabric to DCNM, for example, in a monitored mode. So DCNM is not doing any changes. And you, as the operator, are in charge to push the configurations needed for telemetry via your tools. This configuration that needs to be pushed is completely generated by NI and presented to you so that you can grab it from there. So the DCNM does not need to be a config engine. Is the plan to open this up for non-DCNM handled fabrics? This is something we are looking into, but I don't know any solid timing for this at all.
Yeah, and DCNM, I believe, is 650 racks, so it doesn't quite scale to where I need it. But thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so now from here, I would directly jump into the demo to show you Nexus Dashboard in action. The Nexus Dashboard UI, when you log in, I'm going to log in as a user ACI admin, right, via Radius, and then going to leverage this user. Just keep in mind ACI admin. So when you log into Nexus Dashboard, this is a standard page it takes you to, which shows you your sites, where they are located in the world on the map view. It shows you the status of your sites on the map view. If you hover over, you quickly can see what kind of site is this and what is the status of this site. We see this is an ACI-based site. We see the health score that's reported by the controller. We see the anomaly score and the advisories, which is coming from the insights piece. We see the connectivity status. This is, can Nexus Dashboard reach these controllers and the fabric? We see an inventory, how many leaf switches, spine, and controllers do we have. We could see the same for the other fabric here as well. We see also that it is consuming the Nexus Insights. We see the informations that are published from Nexus Insights to the Nexus Dashboard to show them here, to quickly give you an overview here, right? We see also the amount of leaf switches, spines, controllers. Then at the bottom, we see the services that are published on this Nexus Dashboard. We see there is Nexus Insights, the Network Assurance Engine, and the Orchestrator hosted on this dashboard, right? And we see how many sites are consuming these services. I also can take a glance as a table-based view. If I have more sites, want to see that quickly, to see, okay, what is the name, the score, the health scores, firmware version, which services are used, etc. And then also, what I can do, I can cross-launch the UI of the APIC from here. Now, that user I was signing in with, the ACI admin user, has access rights to this controller as well. And you see I'm signed in as ACI admin here without re-authentication. The same holds true for sites that are based on DCNM. Now, if we look, for example, into the orchestrator, in the orchestrator now, here again, for this application, I do not need to re-authenticate. I'm automatically authenticated based on the role I'm signed in with to the Nexus Dashboard. Here I'm seeing the sites. This site is populated by the Nexus Dashboard. These are the two sites that are onboarded to Nexus Dashboard. And I can now enable these here to use them with the multi-site orchestrator. Now, if we look at the sites a bit, right, if we're looking here and we want to onboard a new site, we can either onboard ACI, DCNM-based sites, and then with the release, which is due later this month, we're going to be able to onboard cloud ACI sites as well. I choose DCNM here. I'm entering the IP address of the controller. Giving a name, a username that is able to log into this controller. And now we know DCNM can handle, for example, multiple EVPN sites. Now I can go to select sites and get a list of the sites that are managed by that DCNM, and which are like fabrics, right? And which fabrics I want to onboard to this Nexus dashboard. I select the site too. You see down here, I can place the needle on the map, doing it here, and it starts to talk to the DCNM, is starting to ingest the information about the inventory, about the connectivity, etc. And then you see it is up. It is showing me the health score, which is reported by the DCNM. There are certain errors on the DCNM, which is shown here. But if we now go back to the multi-site orchestrator, we are seeing under the sites that the multi-site orchestrator now also sees the DCNM-based site. So no need to do that here again, right? And now when there are sites added to Nexus dashboard, they're automatically populated into the applications on top. Looking into the services we're having on the Nexus dashboard,
of course we have a question here real quick. Sorry. So we're going to see great detail for any of the ACI or DCNM sites. But what if we're having trouble with those sites, but due to technology issues outside of the Nexus platform? Are those going to float up into the Nexus dashboard, or is that something that basically we have to refer to elsewhere?
It depends a bit. The typical answer, it depends a bit. We can detect certain of these things via Nexus Insights, right? Nexus Insights, looking into that one deeper in another session, right, by Karishma. This is something where we can gather this information. If you, for example, losing routes to the external world, if you learn a prefix on two routing connectivities with different subnet masks etc, which during normal operations may not be an issue, but if something goes wrong, it can be an issue. This information, if we see this, if we do these consistency checks via routing, endpoints, etc., that will be reflected also to the Nexus dashboard and shown here as anomalies. And then you can dig into that one via the Insights part hosted on Nexus dashboard. Okay,
thank you.
I'm just wondering who the target audience for this is. Like, who are your users? In my experience, there's, one group will kind of look after an ACI based data center, another group will look after native NXOS, and still another group looks after cloud. Like, in kind of a siloed organization like that, who would use this? Like, I'm wondering why. I'm just wondering what problem this is solving and who would consume this in an organization like that.
So what I see when talking there to customers and looking how they are consuming it, we have their full role-based access, right? So who can see what, who can do certain things, that is things we can do. And this is also targeting really on focusing on these sites, right? If you have that one ACI site, the users can use that one ACI site and use the troubleshooting tools of Nexus Dashboard provided by it for that site. Right, so this can be a shared platform for multiple organizations to look at it. Is it an ACI? Is it the ACI admin? Is it the NXOS admin? Or is it the cloud admin? But if the cloud admin, it has to be a cloud ACI site, right?
I know with multi-site orchestrator, if you had used multi-site orchestrator to manage two ACI sites, if you made changes at one of the sites that directly, instead of using multi-site orchestrator, that could break things. We've seen it happen. And now that we've added DCNM, my question is, should we manage entirely through multi-site orchestrator now, or should we still use DCNM and ACI once ACI manager, once we've pulled this all in to multi-site orchestrator through Nexus Dashboard?
So this is a good question. The thing is, if it is a single setup, right? You're good with that one controller, and you may not use the orchestrator piece here, right? because it's a single controller. But if you're planning into having multiple sites and you're looking into your disaster recovery and go beyond high availability itself, I would really recommend to look into the orchestrator, because then you can push your global policies, your general policies via the orchestrator to these sites, right? Because just using the orchestrator for a single site makes no sense, because there is no thing, right? There is the HA built in the controller itself. But if you have multiple sites and you're really keen and care about disaster recovery, for example, or making sure you have kind of different regions, right? If you want to interconnect different regions, that's then where the orchestrator comes into the play.
Yeah, exactly. But is there anything that would prevent, or any way to prevent somebody from just going, who doesn't know better, from going into ACI Manager? I know we have RBAC and things, because like I said, this has happened, and there's actually 2 sites through Multi-Site Orchestrator. They should have been going through Multi-Site Orchestrator, but they didn't. They went to ACI Manager and made changes and got everything out of sync. I know
so currently there is no way to completely lock that, right? That's something which, for example, you potentially could do by getting the user no access to it anymore and doing it via integrations, right? So we have the Terraform functionalities for the orchestrator for ACI itself, Ansible, just to lock the users if they're really going to do something like that, right? Don't give them access directly to it, just let them get via the multi-site orchestrator.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just something good to call out and to make sure everyone using it realizes once they pull this in, manage it through the orchestrator, period.
Yeah, it's a valid point. Absolutely. Okay. Going back to this, we're seeing that on the services we are having, we're seeing what kind of services are installed. We get what is the health of the services. We can manually upload new services here, which we can download from the Cisco website, for example, the DC App Center, cisco.com. But we also have an automatic connection via the App Store to this DC App Center, cisco.com. So you can pull the application and services directly from Cisco here and not needing to download it to your local PC, upload it here again. All of that then is automated if you grab it via this connection. If there is a new version and you download the new version, the whole management of this version is here as well, right? You see there is a newer version installed on this setup, but I see this one is activated. And now as I downloaded the newer version, it automatically is associated to the service and I can activate it here, right? So that I also have this lifecycle management integrated. I get a general overview of the cluster, of course, right? So where I'm seeing that we have the different overview, what is the status of it, what is the status of the connectivity. We see, for example, we use today already Intersite, the connection to Intersite, to be able to provide updates to the services on top of Nexus Dashboard, like Insights, and also be able to upload via these tools log files directly to Cisco via that connection. Instead, to do that on a per application basis, you do that once to the Nexus Dashboard, and the services on top are leveraging this connectivity. Right? These information we're getting here from the Nexus Dashboard itself, seeing these, we can gather a lot of details about the setup, about the nodes, port namespaces. Remember, we were talking about it is we use Kubernetes here as well. So seeing this information, gather the show tags we want to have, having the firmware management for the Nexus Dashboard integrated, etc. We're getting all of that in a very good detail here, so that the whole lifecycle management for the platform itself, plus the services on top, is given here. So with that, I'm at the end of the demo and would switch back to the presentation.
I have one quick question.
Please.
So we've talked in the last day or so. There's a bunch of these dashboards that do seemingly different things with a fair amount of what I perceive as overlap. When we were talking about the one yesterday, I asked the question, is there an API to do all of these things? Because it seems like if you have an organization that's big enough to have something like this, you may have the other one as well. And managing two separate infrastructures that way will eventually break down in an operational model. Is there an API for this that you can tie it together with something that you already have that allows you to use the management functions in a way that, is driven by a already, in place orchestration system?
Yes, that's a good question. Yes, there is an API on the Nexus dashboard. It's going to be full publicly available with the release in the mid of this calendar year, right? So that you're having the capabilities of adding sites, removing sites, gathering that information. We also offer for the services on top an integration, for example, with Kafka. So if you detect certain things, that you can publish it to a Kafka bus, and then other umbrella management monitoring system can pick this up, right? Or use for the services already published the APIs that are available on the services. The Nexus Dashboard API for the platform itself is going to be by the mid of the calendar.
So a quick question on that. What's the value if there's an API exposed for this tool to any other tools that you want to interconnect with it? Where is the value in connecting it to this tool versus going to the Nexus gear directly or to something else? Where's the value proposition there if you're going to interact with it programmatically?
The thing here is that you can gather all of the information that are getting back from the services, for example, you can gather them at a single place instead of going to different services, grabbing it. And also we can use, going down the route, more and more workflows we then can trigger because we have all of that information on the platform, right? So that's something we are looking into so that you can trigger workflows here as well. If we get some information out of the insights, that we can trigger other pieces as well, right? Then on the platform itself, so that you can do that via this directly.
Got it. Thank you.
Right? Being the central place, right? Okay, so getting towards the conclusion. A lot of this, what you see in the conclusion, was something that was addressed by the good questions already, right? Like, hey, Nexus dashboard, the idea is to have that single dashboard, having UIs for the day two operation, but also being that common place in the network to gather all of that information that you can grab them from that single place instead of all the different single pieces here. Right? That's the whole idea. It works for the APIC-based, ACI-based, Cloud ACI-based, and NX-OS-based with DCNM, right? Working on the 9 case, 7 case, 3 case, so that you gather that information, have the information being shown in the Nexus dashboard EDC. So that's the whole idea. The Nexus dashboard, the central place, not only the services, also having on top there then possibilities to have workflows to gather this data together and integrate with third-party tools.
If I'm moving my network towards dual stack and running IPv6, can I run this tool and the APIs and all of that on dual stack, or is this IPv4?
Currently IPv4.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
IPv6 is planned for this calendar.
Got it. Okay.
Dual stack IPv6 and IPv4.